So I finally gave in and I decided I'm gonna, well, upgrade to MCU2 from my MCU1. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. If not, welcome back. I truly appreciate you guys being here. And I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of explanation why I did this. My MCU1, well, before we even get to that point, for those of you who are new, I have a late 2017 Model S 100D. And this car has been spectacular in every possible way except for my MCU. For those of you guys who don't know, MCU is the media control unit. MCU1 is, well, the first generation, realistically speaking, and it is at best questionable. It works when it works, it doesn't when it doesn't. And in 2018, mid 2018, late 2018, MCU2 was introduced in all of the cars, and that's a different ball game. The problem being is that MCU1 has been basically the only bad thing about my Tesla since I bought this car about 3 years ago. That being said, the car itself is great. So what kind of problems did I have with my MCU1, and what made me get to the point where I say, you know what, enough is enough, and now it's time to upgrade to MCU2. I didn't want to upgrade to MCU2. I kind of wanted to leave it as it is. You know, I figured my car is under warranty. Tesla should have done a lot more to try and fix it. I've been complaining about a lot of my issues for pretty much 3 years. They've done nothing aside from two things. Number one, they kept clearing the cache anytime I had a problem or the system slowed down or kept shutting down or whatever, anything like this. My center screen is, all they did is they cleared my cache, and then of course they fixed the yellowing around my borders. That's all that Tesla has actually done as far as fixing any issues. So what are my issues? What are the key things that pushed me to the point where I said enough is enough, it's time to upgrade to MCU2? Well, over the past 3 years, I guess the one that is not so relevant is my web browser. My web browser has not actually worked in over 3 years. And those of you who follow this channel, you know this because I've made numerous videos about it. Tesla consistently told me, well, it should be fixed on next update. Over 3 years, it never fixed it. In fact, it still doesn't work at all. So the web browser, it's not a big deal. It's something that I really put out of my head. I would like to have it working, but it doesn't make a difference to me. It doesn't affect the way I drive my car, or I guess the way I enjoy driving this car. But then there's other more serious problems. My MCU has a tendency to just shut down random times. There's nothing really, anything that I can pinpoint that would cause this problem to happen, but at random times it just shuts down or just restarts. Now, the restarting is not the worst part of it. At least it wasn't for up until about 6 or 7 months ago. Up until then, it just basically restarted. It, took about 2-3 minutes. Bam, it was all fine and dandy. But nevertheless, it happened quite frequently. It was a little bit annoying, but I didn't really care too much about it. The worst part of it, I think, is when it shut down and didn't come back on. Now, this can happen anywhere from 10 minutes or 2 hours or the whole day, where it just simply doesn't come back on. And you're thinking, okay, well, what are some of the things that the media control unit controls? Well, first of all, you have a lot of your things in Teslas are controlled through the screen. For me, having a shutdown and restarting wasn't, again, the worst problem. Having a shutdown completely and me having no access to my GPS or anything else, that kind of got them on my nerves a little bit. In the meantime, I was basically in my service center constantly. They looked at it, they diagnosed it, and they kept telling me there's no problems, there's no issues. I sent them videos, I sent them timestamps. I went through the whole process, everything they asked. Nothing was ever done about it. And I made a video regarding customer service. Again, I don't want to diss the service center, because the service centers have very little say on what they can and cannot do, but it's the Tesla's policies that the service centers follow that is my biggest beef here. So again, about 6 months ago, the problem got really interesting, because now when it was shutting down, it shut down for a great deal of time. Sometimes it lasted, like I said, anywhere from 2 hours to the whole day for that matter. And this caused a number of problems as far as the way that the car was working. In the last 6 months also, the weather changed dramatically. So my biggest issue came when, the screen is shut down completely. It's not coming back on. I have no control to, how my cabin temperature is, which means that my whole car just fogs up, and I can't clear the fog because I have no access to my, to anything really. And that became a bit of a problem. And of course, Tesla, once again, no issue. Keep in mind that this whole time, there have been, it's been if you go online, I don't want you guys to take my word for it, do your own research, but if you go online, you'll find tons of cases where there's actual, lawsuits going up against Tesla for this. Tesla made recalls, so-called recalls. I brought my car in. They still say that there's no problem. In fact, numerous times I brought my car in with the screen being dead. They still claim there was no problem, or they cleared the cache again, and then they kind of sent me on my merry way. They told me the next update should fix it, blah, blah, blah. Same old story, 3 years long, nothing changed. And then there's the other things. So for example, one of the Tesla features is you have pin to lock. Now the pin to drive, is basically on your screen. You have to enter a pin code before you can drive your vehicle. Again, if you get to your car, if you decide to activate the pin to drive, you're not going to drive anywhere if your screen is dead. And this happened to me one time, and then I decided to take that option off because I was not happy. Lucky for me, that day it came back within 30 minutes. I was okay. But if that would have been one of those days where the car, I have no access to it for 2 hours or 3 hours or the whole day, I simply would have been stuck. The other side of it too is your glove box. You can lock your glove box again through a PIN code. And the bad thing about that is, again, if your screen is shut down, you don't have access to that. And you might think it's not a big deal, it's a glove box. As an example, is something that occurred to me. I saw one of my, somebody was going down the highway, they got pulled over. It happened to be a Tesla, and they were speeding. So it instantly occurred to me that, what happens if I get pulled over? What happens if I have no access to my glove box during that whole time? Because that's where my insurance is. And so if I get pulled over and I cannot produce my insurance, I can get a fine for that. Of course, Tesla wouldn't cover that. So it's all these little things that are, all of this added up in conjunction with Tesla basically outright refusing to do anything about this. And again, don't blame it on the service centers, people. The service centers have policies they must follow that are set by Tesla. Again, I've made numerous videos on customer service. As far as Tesla goes, it's horrible. As far as their policies go, the customer service centers, they are the Tesla service centers. They are actually, honestly, they're great. They only have so much that they can do. I want to give a huge shout out to Jeffrey at my location and the whole team at my location. That's on West 4th in Vancouver. They have gone above and beyond. They really scaled it up. They all the way up to the engineers. Once again, because their hands are tied, everybody comes back with the same thing. They did not acknowledge that I had any type of issue. And this was really, really bad. So here I am today. I decided, okay, I'm sick and tired of this. Nothing is getting done. And I'll dish out the money and just upgrade to the MCU2. I'm going to let you guys know how that whole process went once I do it. It should be within the next week. Hopefully I'll have everything organized. I already scheduled a service for this, and so I'm going to be going through that process. Ultimately, when it comes to Tesla, they need to get their service up and running properly. Again, the way my car is, I love my car. I wouldn't trade this car in for the world. If you guys haven't seen the previous video, I was talking about the new refresh that came out. Frankly, go watch that video. It's one of those videos that's a lot of fun. As far as all my little opinions, I would just keep in mind everything is my opinion that I say. But when it came to this part, you know, my car is on the it has full warranty. This is something that Tesla should have covered. At the very least, they should have upgraded my eMMC from the 8 gig to the 64. When I asked about that, they also stated there's no problem, which is hilarious because that was on the same day that I drove my car into the service center with my screen completely shut down. It took quite a while for it to come back. And so it is one of those things where that part is the only part of Tesla that I'm severely disappointed in. I think their focus is so much on getting these cars made and delivered. It's a business, I understand, but without your clients, you don't have a business. Without your customers, you have no business. And without customer service, well, you're gonna fail. Customer service is a massive part to any business. You have to be willing to take care of your customers. Overall, Tesla is very good at this. In the big picture, it's very good. For some reason, it was the MCU that's constantly been a problem. Anything else I've ever talked to them about, you know, no problem. When it came to the MCU, they outright refused any action aside from, again, clearing the cache. Aside from that, really nothing else mattered. So it's going to be interesting to do this upgrade from MCU1 to MCU2. Obviously, there's going to be some benefits that come with it. I'm going to be curious to see how well it's going to work. I have done my research. Being a YouTuber, one of the fun things is I get to talk to a lot of you out there. I get to talk to a lot of people out there, other YouTubers who have already done this. Everybody's basically told me a year ago already, just upgrade the system because, you know, MCU1 is not going to get fixed. And after doing a lot of the research I've done, I find that MCU2 should resolve a lot of my concerns or my issues. Sadly, I got to pay out of pocket to do that, but luckily they reduced the price on the MCU2, so it's kind of a win-lose situation. I'm losing because I got to pay for something that is not it's not my fault. It's just basically the first generation of MCU1. Of the MCU. With MCU1, it's Tesla knows, they're fully aware that it's not the best system they could have done, and so that kind of hurts. Aside from that, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll keep you guys updated on the next upcoming videos, and we'll go from there. It should be interesting to see what MCU2 gives me. Keep in mind, I don't have FSD in my car, but I do have enhanced autopilot, which was available for a limited time. I do have that, so it's going to be interesting if the visualization will change at all, what's going to happen. All these little things are going to matter, but hey, let's see how this all works out. I'll keep you guys updated on the next video. If you guys want to see that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you guys know when I'm uploading that video. That said, please everybody drive safe and stay safe out there. Till next one, bye.